A robot decorating a Christmas tree? I'm pretty sure Santa would love that kind of help. Let's learn how we can do that with RoboDK. Hey, what's up guys? Jeremy here. Some of you might have seen this example on our social medias. So I created that last week to celebrate Christmas. And this week I decided to create a small tutorial series as a gift for you guys where I'll explain some of the methods I used to create this example. So here what I'm doing is pretty much just decorating a Christmas tree using a robot, a turntable, and a welding gun. Um, so I will separate this tutorial series in 3 parts. In the first part, I will show you how you can synchronize an external axis like this one here with a robot. And then we will import the spiral path from Fusion. In the second video, I will show you how you can use the curve photo project to create that path for the robot, or to kind of transform the raw path into robot trajectories. And then in the last video, I will show you how you can add those colors to it. So the goal of the colors is, yes, in this case, make it pretty, but in reality, those could represent different welding parameters that you want to change from one section to another. So this tutorial series isn't as, let's say, prepared as you are generally used to. So I would generally spend hours preparing it. Right now, I'm just kind of doing it on the fly, just taking the example I created and then recording myself. So just be aware of that. So all the videos should take between 10 and 15 minutes, something like that. Okay, so this one is almost done. I will just let it finish because we have a small surprise on top here where I add a small star and then do a few rotations to showcase the final result. So that's great. So this is the Christmas tree done. So the final version. We will go for and start with the Christmas tree start. As usual, I will give you access to those files as soon as possible. The first thing we need to do here is, first of all, take a look at our station and see what's going on here. So we have one 6-axis robot here. If you double click on it, you'll find the robot panel. This one is a brandless robot that was designed by one of my colleagues, Oliver. Did an amazing job on this one. So this way we can have a robot to do some demo without picking a specific robot brand. We have the Christmas tree and we have our turntable. If you look at the station tree here, you will see you have the robot industrial base, RoboDK industrial base here, the robot, and as a child of the base, you have the positioner base. So it's important in a case like this one to have the positioner as a child of the robot base. So with respect to the robot base, if you prefer. If we had a linear axis here underneath the robot, the positioner would be a child of the external axis base, but as we don't have one here, it's a child of the robot base. So first thing you need to do is kind of synchronize both together. So to synchronize both together, you just need to right click the robot, and then here you will see synchronize external axis. So if you do so here, you will be able to see this window appearing. You will see here turntable or linear track. If you click here, you will be able to select your positioner. By default here it says no axis currently synchronized with RoboDK Industrial. So this was there before you selected the positioner here. And then you all have here RoboDK Industrial will be synchronized with positioner. And then the ID of this new axis will be ID 7. So if I click OK, the robot panel will appear again, and now you see we have one kind of scient axis. This one is the external axis, and we have a 7-axis setup. In this case, the axis 7, which is the positioner, has a limit of minus 10,000 to 10,000. You can change that by double clicking the joint limit here. You can change here and increase or decrease the amount of turns you want. There is no way to create kind of an infinite amount of turns, but you can just make it very, very big. So that would kind of do the trick, to be honest. Okay, so this was the first thing. Now we can move the robot if we want like that, and we can also move the external axis like this. So let's bring all of that to its home position. I will showcase the tool frame as we'll need it later. Perfect. So let's save that as station 3 work in progress. Okay, so I will press Ctrl S quite often to make sure that we save our process, save our work, so that we don't lose anything if ever something bad would happen. Okay, the next step is to take a look at our part. Here our part is 3, and here we have a reference frame called part. If we look here, the reference frame part is here. Generally I would prefer having it like right on top of the table at kind of the plate level, but in this case here, this is the origin of my part that I designed in Fusion, so we will leave it as is. Let's jump to Fusion now that we talked about it. So I designed that here from scratch, so it's pretty much just 3 cones, in fact 4 cones, one on top of the other. Some of the cones are truncated, and each of the bodies aren't merged together. This here is useful mainly to for a step that will happen in a few minutes, where I will kind of project a spiral sketch onto the surface. So I prefer having those kind of truncated. This way I can kind of stop the path here at this point, or start it at this point and stop it here. But there's many methods to that, like this often the case in CAD and even robotics. There is more than one solution to one given problem. So here we have our spiral path here on top that I drew. Here with Fusion, it's a bit, I wouldn't say complicated, but it's a process to create a spiral path. There is no kind of spiral tool directly, so you need to create kind of a spring pattern as a cone and then project it on a on a plane, and then you have a spiral path here. So now that we have this, we will create some spiral path onto our surfaces. So to do so, you just have to create a sketch onto whatever plane you want. Doesn't matter, as long as your 3D sketch is activated. You can, if it's not activated, you can go on Google and find out how to activate spiral path. You can then go and select one option here, project, and project onto a surface. So this works with pretty much any CAD software. Some of you might know, we support 5 CAD software. So we support Fusion, obviously. We support SolidWorks, Inventor, Solid Edge, and Rhino. We are always adding new plugins to our supported list, but those are the ones we have now. So any of those would be able to do exactly what I'm showcasing here. But you could also do the same using a CAM software if you want, and just import the NC file representing this spiral path. So I will select project to surface. I will select my face, which will be here, the top section. I will select the curve, which will be my spiral curve. Along a vector would be what I want. By default, it's closest point, but I would like along a vector. And the vector I will choose will be the z-axis. So here you already see the spiral path here on the surface. So I'm going to click OK and finish sketch. So I have one spiral path here. I will rename it top curve. Finish sketch again. I'll create another sketch here, and do the same process all over again. And select here my face, select my curve, select here my Z vector, click OK. I will rename that mid curve. And then I will go for finish sketch, create a new sketch here, and then project surface, select this surface here, select this curve here, select this vector here, click OK. So now I have low curve. Great. So just like that, I have my 3 curves sections. And I'll finish sketch. I don't need to see that spiral anymore. So the reason, like I said, why I truncated the cones is to be able to have a starting point here and then an end point here, and not have to bother with a section kind of on inside the 3D model. There's other ways, other methods where I could have kind of cut that after the fact or something like that, or even cut it within RoboDK. Okay. Now the next thing to do is kind of bring that inside RoboDK. So to do that, I will use the plugin we have. So if you go here, you can go to RoboDK plugin. Some people might be tempted to use the auto setup. I personally never use it. It's your choice. You can do it. Auto setup will bring the 3D model and the path at the same time. I already have the path loaded, and I like using load model. One quick mention for now. When you use load model with Fusion, the only available option is STL. I prefer having step or IGES. So in this case, I exported from SolidWorks the IGES and then imported it to RoboDK using the manual method. So just export, save as, and then drag and drop to RoboDK. With other plugins, this should work. So I will go here and select, in this case, load curves. Now I need to select, first of all, let's select the curve we want to import. So this curve here, and let's select the face we want to refer ourselves to. So selecting the face will give RoboDK an orientation for the tool to work with. So the tool will always be normal to that path, to that surface here. Under basic setting, I can come here and first of all change the object name to, let's say, top curve. And here under reference name, I will use the reference here that I want to import the path onto. So in this case, it's reference frame part. So I have here part indicated. Last section here, you can go to program update level. You can either select no update, where the only thing you will import is the curve follower project, which this is what I will do for this example here. So I'll go no update and just import the path. If you go update, it will create a curve follower project automatically. Update and simulate, it will create the curve follower project and try to simulate it. And update and generate will try to import the path, create a curve follower project, and generate the correspondent program into the robot program you need. You can use that if you're a very advanced user and you really are sure about everything in your station, but I wouldn't go down that path if I were you. I prefer seeing stuff in RoboDK, making sure that everything is fine, and then generating the program. So I'll go for no update and just bring in the 3D model. Here under advanced, you have one thing that's important, but we won't change here, linear tolerance. Linear tolerance will define how many points you have along a curve. So the lower this value is the more points you will have to kind of follow the curve. You need to figure out the right balance, because some robots won't like you having a bunch of points packed together, as it can kind of choke out the controller, and then you will lose the ability to have fluid motion. So if I click OK here, if I go to RoboDK, we now have the path imported exactly where we wanted it. So that's awesome. Let's go back to Fusion and go and do it again with this time the midsection. Let's again select the face and then call it mid curve. Let's just click OK already. Go to RoboDK. We now have our path. So that's awesome. Once again, curve follow project, select curve, lower section, select face here, and then call this one low and click OK. And then here in RoboDK, we have our path. So here you can see we have a line and then we have a bunch of points. So those points are, in fact, those arrows, so I said points, those arrows represent the points that were imported, and the arrow represent the orientation of the tool that needs to be followed. So we have it here, have it here, and have it here. And here under path, under parts of our under our reference frame part, we have the tree we had before, and then we have the top curve, mid curve, and low curve. So in the next video, we will explore how to create a curve follow project, select those curves, and then properly modify the parameters to be able to follow that path here from the top part here and go down to the bottom of this tree here to decorate it properly for Christmas. So I hope to see you there. In any case, have a great day, guys.